Evelyn Taylor thought Thanksgiving would be just another quiet night in her empty house. But when she heard desperate pounding at her door during a storm, she made a decision that would change two lives forever. What began as a simple act of compassion revealed a heartbreaking truth no child should ever have to face, and led to a transformation neither of them ever expected. Before we continue, let me ask you, if someone knocked on your door on a stormy night, would you open it? Write your answer in the comments. The November rain beat against Evelyn's windows like bullets. She was sitting at the kitchen table, staring at the empty chair where Harold used to sit. Thanksgiving, November 25, 2023, 6:30 p.m. Just another holiday, just another night of loneliness since she lost her husband 2 years earlier. Then suddenly, something made her stop. Knocks at the front door. Not the polite kind from a neighbor or delivery man, but desperate, urgent blows, like someone fleeing from something terrible. Evelyn's heart raced. Who could be outside in the middle of a storm at this hour of the night? The pounding continued, louder now, mixed with muffled sobs. She approached cautiously and peered through the peephole. What she saw nearly stopped her heart. A child. A boy, no more than 9 years old, soaked to the bone, shivering. His clothes were torn, there was a cut on his face, and his green eyes were filled with pure panic. Evelyn opened the door immediately. "Oh my God, child! What happened to you?" The boy looked at her, wide-eyed, but with desperate hope. "Please," he whispered, "don't send me away. I have nowhere else to go." Evelyn didn't hesitate. She pulled the boy inside and shut the door against the storm. "It's all right," she said softly, reaching for a linen towel. "You're safe now. What's your name?" "Jasper," he murmured, letting her wrap him in the soft towel. "Jasper Mitchell." "Jasper," Evelyn repeated, kneeling down so her eyes met his. "What are you doing out here alone in the rain on Thanksgiving night?" The question made Jasper's face twist in pain. I ran away," he admitted, tears mixing with the raindrops on his cheeks. "From the Hendersons. They hurt me." A chill ran down Evelyn's spine. She noticed now the bruises on his arms, the cut on his face that didn't look accidental. "How long have you been with them?" 6 months, Jasper said. "Before that, I was with Mrs. Martinez. She was nice, but she got sick and couldn't take care of me anymore. And before her, there were others." His voice trailed off, but Evelyn understood. This boy had been passed from house to house like unwanted mail. "And your parents?" she asked gently. Jasper looked down, his small hands fiddling with the hem of the shirt. "They died when I was 6. There was a fire in our apartment. I was at a sleepover, so I wasn't there." He paused, his voice dropping even lower. "Sometimes I think I should have been." Evelyn's heart shattered completely. This child carried not only the pain of loss, but the guilt of survival. "Oh, honey," she said, pulling him into a hug, and she felt how small he was, how fragile his bones were under her hands. When was the last time anyone had held him like this? "Jasper," she asked softly, "you said you walked since this morning. Where did you come from?" "The other side of town," he admitted. "I didn't know where to go, so I just kept walking and walking, and when I saw your house with the lights in the window, I thought I thought maybe a real family lived here." Evelyn looked around her kitchen, seeing it through Jasper's eyes. The photos of her and Harold on the fridge, the warm lights, the table set for one. For a child who had spent months in a loveless house, this must have looked like home.
"Are you hungry?" she asked. Jasper nodded timidly. Evelyn stood up with a determination she hadn't felt in years. She tossed the frozen meal into the trash and began pulling ingredients from the cupboards. Real turkey she had bought but never had the courage to cook. Potatoes, cranberries, all the ingredients for a true Thanksgiving. "What are you doing?" Jasper asked, watching her curiously. "I'm making Thanksgiving," Evelyn said, smiling for the first time in months. "A real Thanksgiving dinner for the two of us." As they cooked together, Jasper helping peel potatoes with his small hands, Evelyn teaching him how to season the turkey, they talked. Evelyn told him about Harold, about how he loved cooking during the holidays, about how they used to dream of filling the house with children's laughter. "He sounds nice," Jasper said, looking at a photo of Harold on the fridge. "I wish I had met him." "He would have loved you," Evelyn said, her voice catching with emotion. "He always wanted to be a father. We tried for years, but it never happened." Jasper stopped peeling the potatoes. "You wanted to be parents?" "More than anything in the world," Evelyn admitted. "I always wanted real parents, or at least grandparents. I used to see other kids with theirs and wonder what it would be like to have someone love you just because you exist." Something stirred in Evelyn's chest, something that had been asleep for 2 years. They ate their Thanksgiving together, at the table that had been empty for so long. Jasper ate with the hunger of someone who didn't know when his next meal would come, but also with the care of someone who wanted the moment to last forever. "Mrs. Evelyn," Jasper said when they finished, "this was the best Thanksgiving I've ever had." "Thank you," Evelyn replied. "For 2 years, I didn't know what I had to be grateful for. Today, I do." That night, as Jasper slept on the living room couch, wrapped in every blanket Evelyn could find, she made phone calls. She called the police to report a runaway minor and possible abuse. She called Child Protective Services. She called her friend, Margaret, a family lawyer. "Evelyn, are you sure about this?" Margaret asked over the phone. "Caring for a traumatized child isn't easy, especially alone." "Maggie," Evelyn said, looking at Jasper sleeping peacefully for the first time in months, "I've spent 2 years feeling dead inside. Today, I felt alive for the first time since losing Harold. This boy needs me as much as I need him. And if the system tries to send him back to the Hendersons, then I'll fight," Evelyn said with iron resolve. "I won't let someone I love be taken from me again." The following months were a battle. The system initially wanted to return Jasper to the Hendersons. They claimed he was a troubled child who ran away for no reason. But Evelyn had taken photos of his bruises, and when other cases of abuse in the Henderson home came to light, the investigation shifted. During that time, Evelyn watched Jasper blossom. He enrolled in the local school, where he struggled at first, both academically and socially. Years of instability had left gaps in his education, and he didn't know how to make friends. But Evelyn was there through it all. She helped him with homework, comforted him when nightmares about the fire or the Hendersons returned, encouraged him when he felt like he didn't belong anywhere. "Grandma Eve," Jasper said one night. He had started calling her that naturally, and the title warmed Evelyn's heart every time. "What if they decide I have to leave?" She was helping him with a science project, the kitchen table now always set for 2. "That's not going to happen," she said firmly. "But what if it does? What if they say I'm too old or I'm too much trouble?" Evelyn stopped what she was doing and knelt beside his chair. "Jasper, Look at me." When he lifted his green eyes, full of fear, she continued, "I fought to keep Harold when he was in the hospital. I fought cancer when my mother was sick. I fought through grief when I thought I couldn't go on. But I've never, ever fought for anything as important as you." "Why?" he whispered. "Because you're not just a child I'm helping. You're my grandson, not by blood, but by choice. And a grandmother never gives up on her grandson." He threw himself into her arms, and Evelyn felt every broken piece of her life finally fall into place. The courtroom was silent as Judge Harrison read the final verdict. Evelyn held Jasper's hand so tightly she was surprised she wasn't hurting him. Margaret stood beside them, confident but tense. After reviewing all testimonies, medical reports, psychological evaluations, and the recommendations of social workers, it is clear to this court that the minor Jasper Mitchell has flourished under Mrs. Taylor's care in ways he never did in any previous home. Evelyn felt Jasper squeeze her hand tighter. Furthermore, it is evident that Mrs. Taylor has found purpose and healing in caring for this child, benefiting them both in profound ways. The judge looked directly at Evelyn and Jasper. "Therefore, it is with great satisfaction that I grant permanent custody of Jasper Mitchell to Evelyn Taylor with the option to proceed with formal adoption when appropriate." The gavel struck, and Evelyn felt her knees nearly buckle with relief. "Did we win?" Jasper whispered, barely daring to believe. "We did," Evelyn confirmed, pulling him into an embrace that carried 2 years of pain transformed into overwhelming love. 1 year later, on Thanksgiving 2024, Evelyn's table was full for the first time in years. Jasper had invited 3 school friends. He had finally learned to trust enough to form real friendships. Margaret was there with her family. Even a few neighbors who had become like family joined them. But the most special moment came when Jasper stood to give the traditional gratitude speech. "I'm thankful for a lot of things this year," he began, his voice clear and confident in a way he hadn't been a year ago. "I'm thankful I passed my math test last week. I'm thankful for my friends who came today. I'm thankful for this house full of people who care about me."
He paused, looking at Evelyn with those green eyes, no longer filled with fear. "But most of all, I'm grateful for my Grandma Eve, who taught me that family isn't about who you're born to, but about who chooses to love you every single day. She taught me that sometimes the best things in life come when you least expect them, on stormy nights, right when you need them the most." There wasn't a dry eye at the table. Evelyn stood and hugged Jasper, whispering in his ear, "Thank you for teaching me how to live again." That night, after everyone had gone home, Evelyn and Jasper cleaned the kitchen together, a routine that had become sacred to them. Jasper washed, Evelyn dried, and they talked about everything and nothing. "Grandma Eve," Jasper said as he handed her a clean plate, "do you think my parents would have liked you?" Evelyn paused to consider his question. "I think they'd be grateful to know that someone loves you as much as they did." "And do you think Grandpa Harold would have liked me?" Evelyn smiled, glancing at Harold's picture on the fridge, now surrounded by Jasper's drawings, school reports, and snapshots of the 2 of them together. "Sweetheart, I know he would have loved you from the very first moment. In fact, sometimes I think he had something to do with you finding our door that night." Jasper grinned. "You really think so?" "I do. I think the people we love never really leave us, and I believe Harold knew that we both needed each other." Later, as she tucked Jasper into bed, he still liked when she did that, a ritual Evelyn treasured. She reflected on the incredible journey that had brought them here. The broken woman who had once lost all hope had found purpose again.
the lost boy who had given up on finding a family, had discovered that the best families are the ones who choose us and who we choose in return. "Good night, Grandma," Jasper murmured, already drifting off to sleep. "Good night, my love," Evelyn replied, kissing his forehead. As she turned off the lights and headed to her own room, she stopped by the kitchen to look once more at the photos on the fridge. Harold smiling at her from an old picture, Jasper smiling at her from a new one. Two people she loved, separated by time, yet forever united in her heart. Thank you, Lord. Thank you for sending me exactly what I needed right when I needed it most. And then she smiled, because she finally understood a truth it had taken her 53 years to learn. Sometimes prayers are answered in ways we never expect. Sometimes the family we need isn't the one we're born into, but the one we build with love, patience, and the courage to open our hearts again. Evelyn and Jasper had given each other a gift, and in doing so, they had created something beautiful out of something broken. They had built a family from the ashes of loss and the foundation of love. Friends, if this story touched your heart the way it touched mine, if you believe in the power of love to heal broken hearts, and if it reminded you of the difference we can make in someone's life with a single act of kindness, please don't just watch and leave. Click the subscribe button and leave a like. Next, watch this moving story about a desperate father who received an unexpected letter and how it completely changed his life.
Thank you for listening. God bless you.